is my pleasure and my privilege to say happy Memorial Day weekend, beautiful people. Who has wonderful plans for the holiday? I am Reverend Vicky Jeter, your minister for Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. And we thank every one of you for being with us this Memorial Day weekend, Sunday, May 25th, 2025. It is absolutely with heartfelt dedication to all of the people who have given their lives and invested their lives for our liberties and freedoms in this country. And I never um, forget to realize that no matter what's been going on in the world, everyone I've ever known who's left here for a while and then come back does something like kiss the ground for what we have. And so Louisville Center for Spiritual Living welcomes you this Memorial Day weekend, blessing every being and every action taken in sincere dedication to life, liberty, and joy with respect for all creation. We welcome all paths to God. We welcome your challenges and your questions, all pieces and paths of spirit, all areas of life, and all parts of ourselves are essential to a world that works for all. So whether you're here with us for the first time or if you're watching us on Zoom, we thank you for being with us today because you are why we are here. So in addition to more Memorial Day dedication, Reverend Carolyn Harville is our speaker today to bring our May theme of raising your voice, an excellent finale. And as we set our intentions with all of this in mind, I actually want to take an important moment to speak to some of the ways that this has been a trying week for so many people across this nation and in our own community. Once again, there's still storm recovery going on. There's been some pretty insane things happening on an energetic level. And the combination of the devastating weather that was across like 6 states and the continuous turmoil that keeps coming up governmentally at all kinds of different levels. You know, there's whole new waves of investigations going on again now. And I realized that knowing what to trust in our lives about God can be a real challenge when so much that is in our faces is, questionable and does not feel stable. So I know for me, it feels very precarious and everything is uncertain when I lose my sense of trust. So I wanted to take this heartfelt time, and actually Carolyn and I, in communion with each other, we talked about this preparing for this service today, because we understand that a person needs to have somewhere a sense of grounded stability in order to keep moving forward and keep growing. We're either going to be in growth or we're going to be in protection. It's not really possible to do both of those at exactly the same time. And so in order to offer everyone a basis from which to feel grounded and feel like you have the stability that you need to keep growing, to keep moving forward, to keep reaching for your dreams, I just want to remind everybody that we don't put our trust in people. We put our trust in spirit through people. Spirit is first cause always. And so when you see this crazy stuff going on, no matter which parts of it might seem crazy to you, it might be, I might see other things crazy than you do. However it is, whatever your thing is when you are challenged, drop back to spirit first and remind yourself that you're trusting not in those dynamics that are out there as a foundation, but the foundation comes from within, and that within is the source of spirit from which we all come. And when we can remember to trust in that which is as yet unseen, we can trust that spirit will continue to work it out. As just a reminder that we might need to do every week for a while. So with all of that, we go into opening prayer. And we simply say, in gratitude for the gift of life, I recognize the one love, the one law, the one process of divine creation that is in, through, and as all that is. And that is right here, right now. That is the mind we draw from. That is the word we speak. That is every heartbeat and every moment that we live. Mind, heart, and soul. And from this alignment, I open myself as a vessel of spirit. I open the field for blessing Reverend Carolyn as a vessel of spirit, that every word she speaks is resonating at some level with someone who hears this message. And for that, I am so profoundly grateful for each and every being here today, knowing that we are a light, and where people are seeking, that light may be found, even if only reflected within them, and we don't ever know it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. I release it, I let it be, and so it is. And with that, we come to a very precious opening song in honor of Memorial Day. And I'm going to turn this over to Miss Melba Harris to introduce it.
Thank you, Vicky. On 9/11, I was watching the morning news when a second plane hit the World Trade Center. And I then realized that through the years, I had become a bit numb to acts of such violence happening in other parts of the world, at times on a daily basis. That night, after all the events of the day, a phrase came to my mind over and over, reflecting my feelings and the many stories of people helping people in the aftermath, both in person and hearts to hearts, a global demonstration of oneness. And that phrase is the name of this song, which I started writing that night and finished the next day. The world came home. The world came home today, more so than words can say. The family of planet Earth, reminded of what life is worth. We were all forever changed when the world came home. It's easier to dream of peace for distant shores than to carry love and peace with me out my front door. Heroes toil both night and day. People choose to give and pray. Friends reach out from near and far, a shining light of who we are, humanity's collective heart. As the world came home, whether far away or face to face, from here to there is a smaller place. Memories won't be erased since the world came home. For all of us, both young and old, for generations to be told, let's make a brighter future. For the world is our home. Sometimes it's easier to dream of peace for distant shores than to carry love and peace with me out my front door. The world came home today.
Sacredly, most preciously, and with all of that carrying us forward, the mission of Louisville Center for Spiritual Living is to teach personal transformation as a virtual community, living the principles of science of mind and celebrating all paths to God, which manifests our vision of a world that honors and respects all people as the world comes home. Now, each week we have applications of what we believe so that you can carry this into your actual lives and keep working it on a daily basis. And so we begin with a piece from the larger CSL Global Vision. Centers for Spiritual Living is a global community. And so this comes from the Global Vision written by Dr. Edward Bion when he was our spiritual leader globally. And this week it is, we envision a world which has renewed its emphasis on beauty, nature, and love through the resurgence of creativity, art, and aesthetics. And then we have an application that is dovetailed to the message for this week. And this week, the application of what we believe is, there is a power within us that is greater than anything we shall ever contact in the outer, a power that can overcome every obstacle in life and set us safe, satisfied, and at peace. And that is by Dr. Ernest Holmes through the Science of Mind textbook. And now it is my great joy and appreciation for the ability to turn this over to Miss Tammy Evans as our practitioner of the week.
It's my pleasure to be doing this morning's reading and meditation. A reading by James O'Day, The Conscious Activist, where activism meets mysticism. It takes a commitment to stay with the rigors of the journey. Each fresh insight that points the way to greater wholeness tests our motivation to expand our being or realign our doing. The work of becoming more integrated calls for a commitment to self-scrutiny and growth. But because integration pivots on an axis that includes both being and doing, it reshapes the relationship between self and others and spurs us to examine the quality of both our inner life and our engagement in the world. As we've already seen, the activist and the mystic have growing to do in both areas. Spirituality cannot exist in a vacuum. Ignoring social conditions or the plight of humanity and activism cannot hope to transform the social order in the absence of mature spiritual development. Both must grow beyond any form of privileged exclusivity. In fact, they each must embrace a reality that joins them in service to individual and collective liberation. Now, as we prepare for our meditation, take a few cleansing breaths. Make sure you're comfortable. Hands in your lap, and gently close your eyes. Notice the silence. Notice the stillness inside you. There may be a space within you that has gone quiet. Not because there's peace, but because the words inside have been buried. Truths held back, feelings pressed down. Gently bring attention to that space. No judgment, just noticing. What does your silence feel like? Is it heavy? Is it protective? Is it cold? Or maybe it's tired? Now breathe into that space. Inhale gently into the silence. And exhale with loving kindness toward it. You've carried it for a reason. You don't need to shout to break your silence. Sometimes it begins with a whisper. A word. even just to yourself. Ask yourself quietly, what needs to be said? Don't force an answer. Let it rise if it wants to. It might be a truth, a boundary, a desire, a grief. Whatever comes, meet it like an old friend. You don't need to speak it aloud right now. Just acknowledge that it exists, that it matters, that you matter. With every breath, imagine your chest softening. Making room for your voice. Imagine your silence slowly cracking like ice in spring. Making space for water to flow again. You are safe to speak. You are worthy of being heard by others and by yourself. Now take one more deep breath in and let it out fully. When you're ready, bring your awareness back. Wiggle your fingers or toes. Feel the surface beneath you. When you open your eyes, carry this feeling with you that your voice is a gift, not to be hidden, but honored. Namaste. Now join us for our special music, Blessing to the World by Karen Drucker and Jennifer Mann.
You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. are the voice of Spirit on earth, and who we are and all we do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of Spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of Spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of Spirit on earth, and who I am and all I do is a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world. I'm a blessing to the world.
That brings back so many memories. They are at Asilomar. It's a state park in California, and I've been there several times. It's where we used to take our yearly retreats. They've been moving them around for the last several years. But to see Karen in that spot was really precious to me. That brings back such beautiful memories. And Karen, of course, is just incredible whenever you see her or hear her sing. So this is the month of raise your, it's the year of, no, it's May, raise your voice. And overcoming silence, individual and collective liberation is what we're going to talk about this morning, partly. I actually have several things we're going to talk about this morning, but we are going to start with talking about silence. Give me the second slide, Vernon. This is from the 18th century, and that is Saint Anne. And when I think first, when the word silence comes up, this is the kind of thing I think of. She is known for her prayers, for her silent meditations, and I think of silence in that way as a time when you stop what you're doing in the world, stop listening to the thousands of voices that are around you, and move to the silence. Silence has been taught and understood to be the best, I don't know if the best is the right word, but a sure way of hearing spirit. If we can get to true silence, then spirit is right there and we can feel it and hear it and express it. So we're encouraged to practice silence. Silence in our worldly way, where we are in the world, silence can open us up to where the spirit is in us. Okay, Vernon. All right. Silence is in the context of what the National is laid out for us to talk about, is the use of silence can be damning. It can be hurtful. It can be restrictive because sometimes we have a word we need to say and we don't say it, whether that's in our national understanding or our personal understanding. We just can't or won't break the silence, but we can. You know, in our personal relationships, I've heard from myself and a whole lot of other people, he should just know. She should know that that's what she needs to do. I don't have to tell her. She should just know. He should just know. Well, they don't just know. If we don't express our needs and our desires clearly, then we really don't have the right to be mad that they didn't get it because we never told them what we wanted to have happen. And so they're just going their merry way with their merry understanding. And until we take it upon ourselves to speak, to stand up for ourselves, they'll never know. The idea of expressing what we are feeling, what we are knowing, what we are doing is a way to help us maintain our sanity. Because if we're in a relationship and we're not expressing our needs, then we're not getting our needs met, and it causes strife, it causes disconnect, and that can really and does really put negativity into the situation. The right now, as Vicky talked about, the national situation with the new president, with all the fractions and people just giving their own ideas and not giving them in easy ways, but in shouting kinds of ways. It brings us to think about how we express and what we do. How many of you have ever walked in a walkathon, you know, something that was protest? It was a walk somewhere. Yeah, I've done it twice. That's not for me. You know, that's not the way I express what I desire. But I do write letters, seldom, but I do. And then I add my name to petitions. ARP is wonderful about putting together petitions that go to our state and national, mostly national government. And I am always happy to add my name to something I really believe in. But there are times when they put forth something I don't believe in. But for a while before, let's see, back earlier in my life, I would not have signed petitions. I just would not have paid attention. But now I pay attention because I know that expressing what I believe in and joining others in what they believe in is the way that we make change, a way that we make more peace. Let me have the second slide, or is it the third? The next one. This comes from Ernest Holmes in a statement of beliefs, and I'm going to read it to you today. We believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. This profound assertion invites us to recognize that true liberation, both individually and collectively, demands more than passive belief. It requires proactive engagement and transformation. We believe in the ultimate goal of life to be complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. Can you imagine that world? Can you imagine it in your personal level? That with everyone that you interchange with, there is a balance. There is a freedom from any discord. There's a freedom from any frustration or anger for everything, everyone that you interchange with. And that on the national level, that we could get to a place where instead of yelling at each other and condemning each other and saying awful things about each other, that we could come to a place where we could express our feelings and our beliefs and our important guides in our life and be heard. Maybe not agreed with, but at least be heard on both sides and in all areas. What a world that would be. A freedom from strife and discord of every nature. Wow. Well, to get that, we have to express who and what we are. The silence will allow us to get in touch with our own uniqueness, and then we get the opportunity to share that uniqueness with others. As in all spiritual truths, it won't happen overnight, but every time it happens, even in the smallest degree, it's building and growing and multiplying. Okay, Vernon. I look at this and they talk about being active in all these things. And I am very thankful for the people that will go and march and the people that will go and sit and do all those sorts of things. I am very appreciative of those who write and publish things that give others things to think about. If this is true, then what does that say about me? What does that say about my life? And I'm very thankful for those people. and I'm not one of them, but I do in my own way. And that's what we're all called to do, is to express our uniqueness and our truth to everyone and in every way that we possibly can. We do not save a relationship with silence, whether it's national or whether it's personal. Okay, one more slide right now. Oh. Wait, this is sort of how people communicate. And on the bottom there on the left is yes, no. And they're out there facing each other and yelling at each other and trying to make their point of view heard. And that to me talks about activism in a worldly way. The top one on the right is two people in a relationship and they're both screaming. They're both yelling and they're not going to get anything. They're both holding their hands up in a negative way. And that's not going to work for them to get to an understanding and an acceptance. They have to be able to hear each other. And there on the right is a couple that have listened together and they're sharing together and there's happy smiles. So when you're communicating, think about how are you communicating? How are you being yourself in any kind of relationship, whether it's writing a protest or being in a protest, or it's just being with one other person? How are you communicating? Are you open and are you realizing that your silence will not get you what you want? It will not bless the world, but your uniqueness expressed in love and joy will make a difference in your world and in mine and in ours. Okay, the third slide, Vernon. When we remain silent, whether in personal or professional settings, we risk misunderstandings and unmet expectations that damage the foundation of our connections. Remind yourself when you're upset and angry because someone has not done what you think they ought to have done, that if you want to communicate with them, you'll need to do it with openness and expressions of your truth and who you are. All right. You know that I have been working on this little book. Go ahead, Vernon. Okay. It's 150 Years of Healing by R.L. Miller, PhD. And the next book is Emma Curtis Hopkins. And we've talked about Emma before this year, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about her, but it's the next one in the book, and so I'm following the book. And this is her in her young life, and this is her when she was much, much older. There's a beauty and a sense of quiet, I think, in looking at her photographs. She was called the teacher of teachers because teachers, like Ernest Holmes and many others, went to her and studied with her. She had a ministry of healing and prayer, 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 prayer. And that was what she was known for, and her deep understanding of truth, of our understanding of truth, that one spirit, one life is perfect, and it's ours right now. And so she said, if you've dealt in truth, then you could not have illness or disease. And so she worked at that. Okay, let's go to the next one. It is natural and right to be well, and the simple truth understood and applied destroys the error of disease. Now, we've heard that voice in many different ways. Quimby was all about when you get to the truth and you stay there and you express it, then the material, your health, is changed immediately. So, I'm sorry, I got distracted. But the idea that it is natural and right to be well, and the simple truth understood and applied destroys the error of disease. So we are called, whether it's by Emma or the Fillmores that we're going to talk about in just a minute, it's Ernest Holmes, it's any of the great leaders. We are called to know truth. And knowing that truth, we will transform our physical beings and our lives. There is good in the universe, and I ought to have it. She is famous for that. There is good in the universe, and I ought to have it. And I have had it, and I will if I will simply receive it. There's so much good swirling around us all the time. And if we will stop, recognize it, and receive it, it's ours. And so know that there is good in the universe, good for you in the universe, and you really ought to have it. And we invite you to accept it, to receive it, and express it. With truth, all is now. We don't pray in the someday I'm going to be abundant. Someday I'm going to have someone to love in my life. No, we pray and we know that it's right here, right now. It may not have been in our vision, but it's still true. When we pray, it's about now. It's about understanding now, about receiving now. We don't want to tell Spirit, wait a while, surprise me sometime. No, now. We're in accord, we know truth, and it is now. Okay, Vernon, give me a new slide. I went slide happy this time. This is Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. And I think most of you know the name and know what they did, but it's fascinating to read their histories. They were a couple and they moved. He was in real estate for some time and they lived in Pueblo, and then they moved to Kansas City. And because the real estate market in Pueblo hit a low, and so they moved. And that area, Kansas City, was in the uprise with real estate, and he rode that train and did really, really well. And then the bottom fell out, as it always does. But his reaction to that was different because sometime before that, he and Myrtle went to hear D.B. Weeks, Weeks, and he was a New Thought person teaching and sharing New Thought ideas. And so Charles, he was okay. He wasn't real impressed. But Myrtle, she was impressed. And she took it upon herself to understand what he had said and to live it if possible. And she found out, yes, it was possible. She was very ill. She had tuberculosis and some other things. And so she had dealt with them for years. And she wanted to be healed. And so she stuck with it. She studied it. She wrote about it. She invited people to come with her. And the key for her was prayer, 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 prayer. And their unity in Kansas City was founded by these two people. And they worked so hard. They didn't charge anything. If you came to them wanting help, you got help. You weren't charged. Now, if you gave them something, that's fine. But they were never going to charge you for prayer or ministry or food. It's funny, they had free food and people would come, they needed it. And they would come, but they wouldn't come back. And they couldn't understand that why. And they talked to some of them, they understood that people felt bad that they took food and didn't get anything in exchange. And that if they took the food, then maybe somebody else would have it to eat. And so they would come, but then they wouldn't come back often. And so they thought about that. And they put a minimal price on the different parts of the food that they were selling. You could have the main dish or the side dishes or whatever, and there was a little bitty price on those things that almost anyone could afford. And if they found out that you couldn't, they would give you the money to pay. But they were there for everybody to enjoy and to be blessed. And they have never charged at Unity for whatever they do. People are blessed and they give. And they know that that giving comes from Spirit. And so they let it happen. and they don't ever worry about it. She never did a lot of things for herself. People would give her gifts, and they would be wonderful gifts. And she would write to them and say, oh, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to pass this along to someone who will even appreciate it more than I do. And that's what she would do. She would give the gifts that were given to her, and sometimes she kept them. But most of the time, she moved them out and moved them over to someone else who needed it more. So she started right after she heard Weeks. And her, the fourth, I think the next slide, Vernon, the last one. Myrtle Fillmore, this quote changed my life. I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness. I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness. It took her some time. I think it was like a year and a half for her to be fully healthy, but she improved on a regular basis. She had a lot to get through. And Charles watched her, and he watched the people that came, and he began to get interested in it. And so he studied the Bible, and he wrote the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. And it is still used today. It's a very large book, and it takes each word and gives the metaphysical meaning to that word, so that you can study it from that point of view. And people did. They were very excited to have the metaphysical interpretation of the Bible. We all know the grief that can come when someone can quote a piece of scripture and say it's absolutely that way. That's it. They get hung up on what they're reading without trying to interpret it in a wider view. So his gift of the metaphysical Bible was a huge gift, and it still, as I said, is used even now. So the two of them, excuse me. The two of them created unity, and it is still a very big organization and worldwide. There are prayer groups. She started out this way, and it still goes this way. She would have prayer for anybody that wanted to, wherever they were. They didn't have to gather, but at 10 o'clock at night, they would all stop, and they would pray for 30 minutes. And later on, they had publication of that they put out, and they would have the prayer of the month. And so people would take that prayer, and it was being prayed all around by groups of 2 or more. And they would gather together, or they would do it individually, but they would pray. They moved it to 9 o'clock because they began to understand that 10 o'clock was kind of late for some people. They got up early in the morning, and so they needed to be in bed by 10, not praying. So they moved it to 9 o'clock, and it is still that way today. So the revolutionary belief of both Myrtle and Charles: abundance is part of God's plan for all beings. Abundance is part of God's plan for all beings. There is nothing in spirit that says you need to be poor. There is nothing in spirit that says you're going to learn your lesson because you're going to be poor. No, that's not it. Abundance is yours. And as we said earlier, when you can find it and express it and accept it, it's yours. So the Fillmores gave us such beauty and such organization. I've been out to Unity Village, and it's a beautiful place. They added to it when they first began with Myrtle and Charles. They had orchards and gardens because they raised their own food that they were then giving away. And they had people that would come and volunteer. They've always been based on volunteers. And now they have this beautiful campus that's been built over the years. And I didn't get a picture of that for you, and I should have, but we'll do that another time. So we're very thankful for what they have given, and we are very appreciative that they gave it when they did. Trust, something that they did, they trusted Spirit. They didn't feel like that they had to charge to support themselves. They knew that Spirit is the source of all abundance, and Spirit was the source of unity. And it would be what Spirit showed up as in their lives and in their group. So we're very thankful for unity and all that they've given us and for leaders. They did study with Emma Curtis Hopkins. They put their children with friends and relatives, and they went up to where Emma was, and they sat with her for 2 months. They studied with her, and then they came back and developed more of unity. Charles, when he got excited about it, he was a powerhouse. And he worked with Myrtle, and they worked together as a team, and they were wonderful. I thought about how to close my talk, and it's talking about unity, right? And I thought about what we might do. And so I have printed out the current May prayer that unity members around the world are praying this month. They pray it at 9 o'clock at night and anytime else that they think of it and want to do it. And so I didn't put it on the screen. I'm just going to pray it with you. And I invite you to be comfortable, to be receptive, and to hear what it is yours to hear. Because every one of you will hear something different and focus on something different. And that's the word for you today. Okay, their affirmation this month is I am inspired to do all that is mine. As we begin this time of prayer, we take a deep breath, settle into our heart space, and feel Spirit's presence as an ever-abiding love and grace. Today is God's day. We live and move and have our being in God. This truth inspires us to know we need to do nothing alone. For the wisdom, peace, understanding, love, and joy of God is ever present. We are enfolded in God's loving presence and blessed with a life of meaning and purpose. We trust in God for every need. When we pray, our faith is renewed and we are open and receptive to our highest good. Our affirmation of our faith in God upholds our belief in divine order. When we, moment to moment, express and affirm the divine light in each other through love, compassion, and kindness, we create a new and better world for all. Lifted and inspired, we go forward to live our best lives. Thank you for God. Thank you, God, for unlimited possibilities and abundant blessings. And so it is. I invite you to open your eyes and look around your screens and see the many faces of God that are shining out at you. And give us all a blessing. I bless you with joy in every aspect of your life. And each person here is blessing everyone else in whatever they feel led to do. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you for that, Carolyn. Beautiful sermon today. Now it's the time for the giving of our gifts. We thank you for all the ways you give to Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. The ways to give are on your screen and in the chat, along with our P.O. Box of Louisville Center for Spiritual Living, P.O. Box 43958, Louisville, Kentucky 40253. Now, please join me in affirming today's affirmation. Money comes to me as easily as being with my best friend. I like that. Now I pass it back to Vicky for the blessing of the offering.
With such blessing filling this space and the atmosphere teeming with our unity. And that's unity handed down by unity and absorbed in as and through us. We are all one community, not only with those who are of like mind with us down through the ages, but also with all beings everywhere. And in a moment like this, it's easy to feel that truth. It's easy to feel that the ongoing givingness of spirit is flowing right through each and every person that is in touch with what's happening here, and right through this little basket that is representative of the basket that magnifies the fish and the loaves, so that everything that we have to give and everything we are able to receive is all magnified and passed on and given to those who are seeking to then give on to people that they know who are seeking. And ultimately, we all do it together, and we are the ones we've been waiting for. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. We release it to let it be, and so it is.
Now it's time for our announcements. Our speaker next week will be our own Reverend Vicky Jeter, and the talk will be about In Living Color. So join us next week. And then we are, to remind you, we've started the Unexpected Income Initiative that's going to run from now until August. And I don't know, it's kind of hard to read. I don't know if we've received anything more.
I got it. So
Okay.
Thank you, Tammy. So far, the community has received $2,718, and from that, we have received 10% tithe, which rounded up. Vernon took the 18 and said, I'm just going to round that up. So we've received $272, and we may have in fact received more over this last week, because these numbers are the same as they were last week. I don't know if someone else had received unexpected income this week. I hadn't heard about it. So kind of remember, as you're cultivating your unexpected income consciousness, make sure and report that to us, because we want to celebrate it with you. And the tithing of the 10% is significant to that process. It's significant to that cyclical process. And we understand if you're in learning that, and don't think I'm not going to report this, that I've got this good in my life, because then they're going to be watching to see if I donate 10%. We will be blessed if you do, but if you don't, then we're trusting you as a vessel of spirit. Let us know anyway, because that energy is so good for cultivating the field for the entire community. I would just email me, text me, or any one of the board members or practitioners. They will pass it on. Just celebrate the good that comes to you. And thank you.
Okay, and our
we're turning this over to Joan.
Yeah, I figured. Our May monthly financial update, and I will pass it over to Joan.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Joan Durbin, the president of the board. I think most of you all know that. So I am talking today about, every month we want to give you all a financial update. And today I'm talking about April, the month of April. Our income was $1,935.04. And our expenses, as you can see, $3,039.54. So that put us into a net loss of $1,104.50. At this time, our savings account is $4,504.41. We do not have any financial numbers for May yet, as May has not ended, the month of May. But because we do predict a good month in May, people, you all, our marvelous community, has been giving more regular in their giving, a little bit of an increase there, which is wonderful, and thank you. Our financial love offerings have come in, and also, of course, the unexpected income that Reverend Vicky was just talking about. We do have a board meeting Tuesday, this coming Tuesday, at 6 p.m., and you're welcome to come to that. We will be talking about balancing our budget with our income and expenses. And I do want to thank every one of you all. We can't do this. We're all in this together. We're a marvelous community. So that's all I have to report today. And thank you.
Okay, so just to remind you to please stay for sharing time after the benediction. Please always remember and don't ever forget that you are magnificent. Now join us for our closing song, Rise Up, by Jordan Rebjohn and his mom.
You broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out and move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains.
And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up,
And I'll do it 1,000 times again.
and I'll rise up, high like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up,
And I'll do it 1,000 times again.
for you,
For you,
for you.
for you.
When the silence isn't quiet and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe,
And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet.
move mountains.
Bring it to its feet.
And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up,
And I'll do it 1,000 times again.
for you, for you, for you. All we need is hope.
And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I will rise up 1,000 times again.
And we'll rise up, high like the waves. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up,
And we'll do it 1,000 times again. For you,
for you,
for you.
Oh my goodness. I invite you to say out loud our benediction for the power of the word and the power of the word together. There is one life. That is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life. That life is all now.